K-File finding that in November in 2020, Vance says childless Americans were, quote, more sociopathic than those with children. Vance also saying that in his experience, the, quote, most deranged and, quote, most psychotic people he sees on social media are typically childless. Out front now is K-File's Andrew Kaczynski. Okay, I'm sure that one could probably look at the sociopathic thing and be very clear on an answer on that. I mean, it's sort of amazing that he's weighing in on this. What more did you find on all of these comments?
Yeah, so this wasn't a one-off comment from Vance. He had a pattern of making these comments both in his Senate run and even in the years before. And I think the thing that's important for people to remember is when he made these comments, this wasn't like a gaffe, Aaron. These are comments that he was proud of. He fundraised off of them, and I want to read a couple of those fundraising emails because he went even a little further than what he said in those cat lady comments. Look at this one from August 2021 where he said, quote, "We need to speak directly to patriots like you about the serious issue of radical childless leaders in this country. We've allowed ourselves to be dominated by childless sociopaths. They're invested in all caps nothing because they're not invested in the country's children." And he actually also sent another email that read, quote, "Our country is basically run by childless Democrats who are miserable in their own lives and want to make the rest of the country miserable too. What I want to know is why have we turned our country over to people who don't have a direct stake in it?"
I mean, it's black and white, right? And it was black and white. It was actually in a fundraising email, which is pretty stunning. So that shows, and by the way, it's not that anyone thought there was any misspeak because he's doubled down and owned it, but he meant what he said. He fundraised off it. But then he also had a podcast, right? And he talked about it there?
That's right. Well, he went on a podcast when they were promoting, people probably remember the Hillbilly Elegy was made into a movie around November, December in 2020, and he went on a podcast to promote it. And listen to these comments that he made on that podcast.
There's just these basic cadences of life that I think are really powerful and really, really valuable when you have kids in your life. And the fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, just don't have that in their lives, you know, I worry that it makes people more sociopathic and ultimately our whole country a little bit less less mentally stable. And of course, you talk about going on Twitter. Final point I'll make is you go on Twitter and almost always the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
And what's interesting, Aaron, about those comments, as he sort of defended them, or people have defended him by saying he was just taking aim at Democratic leaders, but those comments on that podcast were clearly a little bit more broad and were sort of targeting all childless people.
They certainly were, calling them sociopathic, less mentally stable. So what's the response from the Vance campaign to this?
So we reached out to the Vance campaign. We asked them, are you squaring these comments, the controversy around it? And I'll read you what they told us. They told us in a statement, Senator Vance has clearly stated that he was talking about politicians on the left who support policies that are explicitly anti-child and anti-family. The media can obsess over it all they want, but he's not going to back down when it comes to advocating for policies that protect parental rights and encourage people to have more kids.
All right, Andrew, thank you.